that were safe to spray over the corn, but it killed everything else. So all the milkweed that used to grow in between the rows, at the edges of the field, nothing. So just habitat demolished, just completely destroyed. So in the 90s, the decline of the monarch butterfly was just so severe and so drastic and immediate because of that. So because all that habitat was destroyed, that's why the numbers have dropped so much. And there are some experts that believe that the monarch butterfly may not be around in our part of the world someday, just because there's so little habitat. Which would be very sad. The monarch butterfly in our part of the world, it does exist. The monarchs exist all over the world, actually. But in our part of the world, east of the Rocky Mountains, it is the furthest insect migration in the world, of any insect in the world. That's incredible. So you can't let that disappear, right? It's pretty cool. All of the monarchs in the fall, all of the monarchs east of the Rocky Mountains, migrate to the mountains of central Mexico. Oh, look who's here. The guests of honor are here. Kaylee and Melissa have our monarchs. There are some swallowtails too. And don't worry, they will get to all of you. I'm going to keep on talking, and you will get to see them right up close. And if you'd like to get a picture, you're more than welcome to do that, of course. But what's so important and special about the monarch is that migration. So we want to help keep that alive. So starting in mid-September to late September, that's when the monarchs leave for Mexico. Now, a lot of people think, well, Mexico, I want to go to Mexico for the winter, but they're not going to the beach. They're actually headed to the mountains. It's actually pretty cool in the 50s, and they just hang out in the fir trees that are there. There are only 13 known sites that they just discovered in the 70s. They knew that they went to Mexico. They didn't know where. So they've fairly recently just discovered these overwintering sites. So all of the monarchs go to those same 13 spots for the winter. So it's amazing. And they've never been there because that monarch is the migrating monarch. So what we say about these monarchs, and this is a little confusing, but I'll break this down for you. So the monarchs that we see flying around right now, we call summer monarchs, okay? Because their job is just to feed and make more butterflies, right? So their job is just to reproduce and exist and pollinate, right? They're pollinators. They help to pollinate plants. So as the summer progresses, they are just laying eggs. The one female monarch butterfly will lay up to 400 eggs in her 3 to 4 week lifespan. They live just 3 to 4 weeks. So she has a short amount of time to find milkweed, to mate, and lay lots and lots of eggs. Now, it's not unusual in the insect world for insects to lay so many eggs because they're very low on the food chain, right? There are insects that eat the eggs. Spiders eat the eggs. Do you have a question? She knows lots about the monarch butterfly. And actually, what she was saying, one thing she was saying, which actually is a good point that I should mention, I didn't really mention the life cycle. We do have it set up over there. I know I spoke to many of you, and you were able to see all those live stages that we have set up. There are live eggs, live caterpillars, live chrysalis, and of course live adults that you see. So that's the stage. Those are the stages, right? So it goes from the egg, then to the caterpillar, then to the chrysalis, and then to the adult. Yeah. So she made a really good point. I didn't really mention the life cycle itself, and you can see all of that here today if you didn't. So please hang around, and we'll check that out later. But as far as the migration goes, I mentioned that these are summer monarchs, so their job is just to reproduce. The eggs that are being laid, actually, like right now and in this last week, the eggs that are around. Oh, there's Jasper making an appearance. That's our resident kitty. But the eggs that have been laid in this last week, by the time they turn into adults, it will be about mid-September, and they are the migrators. So they're physiologically different. They will live 6 months, and they will migrate to Mexico. They will leave Pennsylvania around mid-September and migrate all the way to Mexico. They get there around Thanksgiving. So when we're eating Thanksgiving, getting turkey and giving thanks and sitting down with family, you can think about the monarchs arriving in Mexico, and it's a big celebration there when the monarchs come back. So you have a question? Are they produced by the Yes, so it's these
Oh,
summer
yeah,
monarchs.
summer.
She asked if the
Up here.
migrating monarchs are produced by produced by the summer monarchs, and yes, so these summer monarchs are laying eggs. So they've been
Carter,
laying
look.
eggs since
Over
they
here,
arrived to
Carter.
Pennsylvania in May.
I gotta take.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
actually
complete this little
recording it.
cycle for you.
Recording this.
Cool.
So the summer monarchs are
sorry,
laying
just
eggs
no
all
left-handed.
summer. The eggs that are laid early August are the migrators that will live longer.
They're
That because-
orange?
Okay, so by the
That
time that
just-
they
That's
emerge
the type
into
they are.
adults,
Yeah.
like you see the chrysalis over there,
There is one.
the chrysalis that are
Oh, so-
emerging mid-September
Yep.
in
Oh, so the
Pennsylvania
monarchs are poisonous.
are
That's why
those
now
that are
nothing
going
eats
to
them
emerge
because they're
and they are
poisonous.
migrators. They have bigger
It's
fat
true.
stores
They
in their
do not
body
taste
that they're
very
able to
good.
make that trip. They look exactly the same. So if you were to see them side by side, look just the same. And so they will migrate all the way to Mexico. Like I said, they get there around Thanksgiving. They are there all winter, and they leave Mexico around the 3rd week of March. They all leave in a matter of days. So all of those monarchs start to head north, and then they lay eggs on the milkweed that's popping up in southern Louisiana and southern Texas. So those monarchs, those are the migrators, right? They mate, they lay eggs on that emerging milkweed in Texas and Louisiana, and then they die, and it's their descendants who keep moving north and populating those summer monarchs, moving north as the milkweed is emerging up through the United States as the temperatures are getting warmer, so they don't get to Pennsylvania until like usually late May, early June we start to see them, and then they're reproducing, and this cycle goes on all summer until they then migrate. So the migrators have never been to Mexico, right? It's crazy. They're newly emerged butterflies that know right where to go. So that's nature at its best, for sure. Are there any other questions? I thought I saw another. Yes. Can you get just a little closer, maybe? Oh, she's asking. That's a very good question. She asked if other butterflies migrate or just monarchs. There are other butterflies that migrate. Actually, painted ladies migrate as well. And I